So far, we have been drawing heads and been making them very circular. And you know how to put crosshairs on? That's what I'm going to call them, crosshairs. You could even put in some eyes, probably put in a nose, maybe a mouth, some eyebrows, and some ears. One of the things that I want to show you is that you can have, as we start to venture deeper into the characterizations that you are going to create, is that we can have more than one head shape. So I just want to start you out with this is going to be our basic head shape. And it's just going to be an oval, as you know, but we can also explore some different head shapes. And sorry about that. Move this over to the side. So a few common head shapes. We can have a circular head that's a little bit skinnier. So I want you to draw these with me. So we are going to have our circular head. We can have more of a flat head. You're like, well, what is that? Well, I can do that, right? Okay, we can do that. There are characters with flat heads. We can have a triangle head. And by the way, we could just round the little edges off here, and you still want to put the same crosshairs up there. So from the triangle head, we can also have a square head. Can have a square head, can have a rectangle head, and all of these can change. All of these can change with, all of these can just change and really give a different dimension to your characters. So we got squares, we got a triangle head. We also can have much more of an upside down head shape. And one of my personal favorites, we can have the little light bulb shape there. Plenty of characters with that. And each one of these you can flip upside down. So, and there's a variety of head shapes that we can use. And let's go ahead and do one that's just a little bit more pointier at the bottom, a little bit pointier at the bottom, and a little bit more rounded. Whoops. Let me just go over that. So now what I want to do is right underneath these. So let's give something for a little bit of context here. The one thing that you want to decide is, first of all, are you going to have your character from a side view or a 3/4 view? Now, you don't have to draw any character from the side view, but let's take a look at our first character here. So this is going to be our front. So hopefully you got these down. If you need to stop, rewind, and take a look at these and just jot these down, it would be actually pretty cool if each one of these you gave their own piece of paper, depending on how you're working. If you're working digital, as you know, you can just expand them. But let's take a look at our side of this. So I would interpret this is the same way. And so right here, and let's just go ahead and put in an ear here. I just want to put an ear in on the side. And actually I might bring that down a little bit. So in real life, if our head looks like this from the front, let's just say it's not much real life, but from the side, it gives you this kind of shape. But the point is that your character is, it's a little bit, there usually is an extra part on the back, but we're trying to keep this cartoony. So I don't want to put this extra skull on the back because that's what it's going to represent as a skull. Not for the very simple cartooning heads. When you get into a little bit more complex stuff, then yes. But I just want to keep this to be a basic shape. So I just want this character just to have a skinnier head so we know that the character's on the side, because if I drew the eyes in, if I'm drawing this character from the side, I'm just going to make these ovals just slightly skinnier. So kind of roll with me on that. Now, this other character right here, he has a really wide head, and that's a feature of this character. So what I would want to do is make his head just more of a circle on the side. That's how I would interpret it. And if we want to, we can just throw an ear on. I just want to leave a little bit. I just want to move the ear in a little bit. There's nothing to say that you can't put the ear way on the back. It's cartoons. I'm going to keep saying that. Because if we did this and we did a really flat, because I want these shapes to kind of correspond with each other. We'll definitely get into that, and I'll be talking about that throughout. So I got this egg shape on its side. The eyes are an egg shape. It would make way more sense to put a nose that was egg shaped. And so from the side, it's going to look skinnier. And I would actually make this look a little bit more of a circle on the side. Now, could you do this to the side? Yeah, why not? Because again, we're not worried about it being hyper realistic or realistic at all. We want it to be a cartoon. If I go ahead and take this little pizza head here, I just want to make these skinnier on the side. That's how I am interpreting this character. So what I actually did was I made the front of the head pretty flat, and I did extend this out to this kind of triangle. So it's pretty much the same shape. So it went from a triangle like this, more of an equilateral triangle, to just a right angle triangle. I forget, I think that's an isosceles triangle. I don't know. I forget, to be honest with you. And then I'm going to put that line here. I don't need the middle line here when I'm doing the side view. I just need to see that this character is facing from the side. And if I want to do an eye, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to make the eye skinnier. And when we get into eyes, I'll kind of show you why I'm making everything skinny when it's to the side. This is more of a blockhead kind of character. You know what? I can go either way with this. I can either take this character and make his head really blocky from the side. I can make his head a perfect box if I wanted to. Let me go ahead and erase a little bit right here. So if I put the ears on, notice how I just made the ears really blocky. I moved them up a little bit. So from the side, I would do this, making those ears just blockier. And how would I put the eye on? I would still make the eye a little bit skinnier. I might even move. So since this character is blocky, I would kind of move the eyes down here. That's just the way that I see it. I'm going to explain to you a little bit more. I just want you to start drawing this stuff so we can get used to it. So rather that you can get used to it. This tall, skinnier head, I would keep this the same. I would keep this character very much a triangle or a big rectangular character. I throw the eyes right there. I'd want this character to be tall and lanky. And if we move to the side here, I would keep this. I'd keep this the same. I wouldn't try and mess with this at all. Throw a little ear right there. How far ear in should the ear be? Well, okay, so let's look at this. If I just took what I think would be half, as long as it's behind this line right here, then that's where the ear would be. It's just a little quick little tip, rule of thumb. Now this head right here, here's what I would change. So when we got these weird shapes like this, if you take the front, one of the halves of this, that's going to help you out. So I like for the front of my heads to be a little bit curved, and I'm just going to follow that curve right there. And that's going to be the side of my character's head. So that's the curve that I'm following, and that's what I did right here. I want to make that nice and simple. The same thing with here. So I guess that's another good way of looking at it as I continue to draw this. So we're going to look at this half right here. And actually, it's not really that. So maybe I would round that out a little bit more, like that. I still like having this character's head be a complete block, because with cartoons you do have that freedom. By the way, if you did want to go the other route with this, and if you wanted to say, I just want my character's head to be really a wide face but a really skinny head, you could do that too. There's no problem with that. There's no wrong answer to that. So you have the total freedom to do that. So you see we still got the half shape here. Up here, if you wanted to do the same thing, if you wanted to make this character's head a little bit flat and then round his head off like that, you can also do that too. The face is normally going to be more flatter on the front on a human head, but again, with the cartoons, it doesn't make that big of a difference, because it's going to be your individual style. So if I just kind of zoom out here a little bit, that's not a zoom button, is it? Here's the zoom. Let's take a look at these, because I want to wrap this video up. A little bit longer of a video. So if we take a look at our heads that we have here, so this is our side view right here. These are our front views. We're going to just start out with these heads to start out. This is a good starter set for you to really get a grasp on heads. And with these heads, we are going to then start to add some, as we talk about features, we can always refer to these kinds of heads. You can do way more than this. My personal assignment for you guys is to go look at some of your favorite cartoons and see cartoons or comic strips, or also it could be 3D animated stuff, whether you're looking at like Pixar or whatever, DreamWorks or whatever, and see how many characters, if you could check and see their basic head shapes. And if you guys got art of books, that kind of stuff is invaluable. Like the art of books, if you have something like the Art of the Incredibles or the Art of Up or whatever it is, you'll be able to see that there are characters that are going to have dominant shapes for really good character design, and that's some of the stuff that I want to get into with you. So another reason why I want to start with just the head and getting the features in, because it's going to give you a bit of a roadmap. If I had this character up here with the block head, then what I would do is, if I had this block head character, I would probably make his frame really boxy. Draw through that a little bit. I would have this character right here, make his eyes a little bit flat. I'd make his nose a little bit blocky. Give him maybe a big mouth, maybe give him a little square chin. And I would just make him blocky throughout. Make his hands a little bit blockier. And I'd probably give him really short legs. Give us some very flat feet. And so I would make this character extremely blocky. Maybe even give him a kind of a blockier haircut. Maybe give him some ears that are more blocky. And so I'm trying to keep in, you're seeing this square shape that's repeated over and over again. just a series of squares. So that's one of the things that we're going to get to a version of this. So I'm going to stop talking and I will see you in the very next video.